Hi, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and today I'm going to be showing you the Strobepro wall-mounted stand rack. This is a really convenient way to organize stands in your studio. This rack will hold up to 8 stands, and these can be any stand with a standard spigot or with a baby pin. I've just got this little short one to demo real quick to you how it works, but essentially just the spigot on the top of your stand will slide right into the slot and it will hang there. And like I mentioned, it'll hold a variety of stands, and I'm going to show you that later on when we go back to the warehouse and install this. Now in your box, you're going to get a few different things. You'll have the actual metal bar here. This is a really strong metal. It's not going to bend or anything, so it can handle a lot of weight from your stands. And then you will have the 2 brackets here. And we do need to install these, but it's really easy to do. You only need one tool, and that is a 13mm wrench, or I use a socket just because it's a little bit quicker. So let's grab the socket, the brackets, and install those really quick right now. On your bracket, you will have this lock nut that is screwed on there, and you can just take it off with your hand, and then there's a washer. Now you don't need to worry about the other side of this. It is an Allen key bolt, but this bolt is welded on there, so you don't need a secondary wrench to try to tighten this. Now when we put these on, you need to make sure that you put it in the proper orientation. And you'll see that this actually has a little bend on it right here. Don't worry, that is not bent by accident. It didn't get damaged. We have to have that bend on, so when we have stands hanging in here, it's not tilted down or anything, so eliminating any possibility of your stand sliding out of the rack. So we need to make sure the holes where the bolts go through are facing the back, and then all we're going to do is just come in from the bottom there with that bracket, put the washer on the top, and then start the lock nut. Just screw that down. You won't be able to get it too far. And then just the same thing on the other one. Remove that. Again, just the bolt right through there. Washer and lock nut. So now all we need to do is grab our 13mm wrench and tighten those down. So you want to grab onto the bracket on the back just so it doesn't twist, and then I'm just going to tighten this down. Don't worry about keeping it dead straight yet. And if you find it easier to mount these brackets onto the wall before, you could do that. You just have to make sure your measurements are right. You don't have to over tighten this too badly, so just nice and snug there. And then just go and do the same thing to the other side. There we go. Both our brackets are installed in under a minute. Just again, make sure that yours looks like this. We have the slots in the front here and our brackets with the holes facing the back so that that can be mounted against the wall. Now let's go back into the warehouse, and I'm going to show you how to install this and how to put some stands on it. We're back here in the warehouse, and I'm going to install the stand rack onto our pallet racking here. Now you are not going to have this obviously in your studio. Chances are you probably have 16-inch on-center studs in your basement or on your wall where you're going to put this. And that's a little bit of a problem because these brackets are 25 inches apart. So what I recommend doing is pick yourself up a 2x6 from Home Depot, and what you're going to do is just make sure that you hit 2 studs. So if you happen to be starting here and you can find a stud on your wall, the next one's going to be 16 and then another 16 over. So I would recommend hitting the first one, hitting that one, bolt that 2x6 into the wall, and then we're going to bolt the rack onto that 2x6. That's just going to give you a nice sturdy area to mount this because it is going to be bearing quite a bit of weight probably. If you happen to have a concrete wall, that's great. We include the anchor bolts for that, but do not mount this into drywall. There's just too much weight. It will rip it out. Another thing to keep in mind is that these brackets need to be pointing down. And you might look at this and say, oh, is this bent? Did it get damaged in shipping? No, it's specifically bent up like that so that when this is mounted onto the wall, it has a bit of a lean so that the stands sit into the slots there and won't slide out the front. So what I'm going to do is just slide this into this grate here that I happen to have, And just to give you an idea, so it's going to sit like that. Obviously yours will be flush to the wall all the way like this, but for demonstration purposes, this will work. We're going to install our stands now onto the rack. The only requirement is that we need to have a standard spigot on here or a baby pin. And pretty much any stand has that, so you should be good to go with basically any stand. So all you need to do is just go to the stand and slide this in. So you'll just turn it in. Ours have a flat-sided spigot, so it's easier to go in on the flat side and you can rotate it around. If you don't have that though, it will still go in, no problem. So this is a 7-foot to go Strobepro stand. It has a brass pin there. So same thing, just slide it in. And if yours is mounted onto the wall, it's not going to move around like that. Now here's a big 16-foot boom, which is quite heavy, but no problem. Slide it in. And then a 10-foot stand. You can also put C stands. I would recommend though that you take the turtle base off the bottom there, just because it's going to hit your wall otherwise. So just slide that in. If you happen to have the Strobepro one, you would have a boom as well, so you can separate that, put it in as well. Then we have our super boom here on the end, and just another 10-foot air right here. And there you go. You can see 8 stands on there, super fast, really easy to move them around if you have to. Again, just slide in, drop them, and we're good to go. So that's going to save you a ton of space in the studio, and it's really not a big investment. Just find a wall where you can install it, and you've got 8 stands nice and packed away. So there you have it, guys. That's everything you need to know about the Strobepro wall-mounted stand rack. If you want to save space with your stands, keep them clean, organized, and look really professional, then this is definitely a piece of equipment that you might want to add to your studio. So until next time, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and enjoy creating.